gonna do something because he got a bad goon micro. On what kind of maps can you pull off drops? Are there certain maps that work for drops and certain maps that don't work for drops?
Yeah, like this map is actually kind of good for drop because like the lower region that is surrounding the main, from his position at the top left, is rather far from his natural third mineral, we'll say. So if he was pushing out to attack or be aggressive at all, his return path is kind of far to get back to his main. And also, there's a lot of areas surrounding the main. Some maps are worse to attack into because they're much smaller and it's easier to defend multiple places. So you probably wouldn't do it, but in PvP, it's really important to get storm drops and stuff like that because since you're sharing units and you're sharing everything, like everything costs the same and stuff like that, if you get any advantage in the economy, you're going to be in a very good position. So.
Alright.
I'll actually say another thing about that. If you ever do drops, like I think he might do drop later on me in this game, I don't quite recall, but if you do drops with High Templar, you have to make sure that you don't use all your High Templar units as, it's similar to the Dark Templar. Then when you use all your storms for a drop, and you use up 2 to 4 storms, let's say, that means you're going to have that much less in your army engagement. So it creates a timing for the opponent to attack. So you should always make an extra 1 or 2 to defend while you do that drop.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Now, he went for a fast citadel, and it allowed your DTs to be very effective at defending and do some good damage in his base. How would you have changed up your strategy if he had not gone for Templars first and had instead gone for an observatory first?
The observatory is a good counter. Because if most people don't do it because they figure that they're doing some sort of greedy economy build, like he did the 12 nets, and he probably thought that his economy would be much greater than mine, so you can just run more gateways and apply pressure, and I would be behind or panic or something like that. So the observer is actually probably one of the best openings after 12 nets, but the thing is, you can't really always do it because, like I said before, if you get like early core and have 2 gateways, he doesn't know how aggressive you'll be, so if he gets his observatory too quickly, then his goon force is going to be smaller. So if I do some sort of 4-gate all-in or like a proxy robotics at his mineral third, let's say, and just start blocking Reaver from there to attack, like he'll die really quick. So you have to take a risk in your strategy after you open 12 nets. It's only briefly, like when you hit the 8 to 10 minute mark, it's going to start kicking in, but right now it's not kicking in because I harassed him a bit and applied some pressure and his macro was the best. But you're not really going to have as quick tech as if someone did a 1-base build, so you're kind of in the dark for a while. And I know they wrote that you can make the 5 cells, whatever, to get your scout up, but if you do that, then also if you do that against like a 2-gate goon and the guy blocks his ramp, he can actually deflect your push, and depending on what he did, like 3-gate or 4-gate follow after, you can still lose instantly, even though most people believe that it's like the absolute best thing to do after the 12 nesses. So like you just have to be very, from his point of view, you have to be very diligent with the probe scout and make sure that you always have one on the map and try and attack and use your probe at the same time to get into the opponent's base. But you have to like really work hard for some scouting information, otherwise you're going to be in a disadvantage even though you think you're in a good spot.
Okay. Your harass was kind of effective. It wasn't that effective, but the army discrepancy is really big between your 2 armies right now. Why is your army so much bigger?
He's been making a lot of macro mistakes and he cut probes earlier. Like if you click on his minerals, most of the patches are like 100 to 200 more than mine. So he's been cutting a lot of probes. He just did a storm drop, which was pretty good. He got 14 kills on probes, but I already have 3 bases and a lot more probes anyway. So even though that was pretty good, it's not as good as you might think. And also, this is what I was saying earlier about the storm drop. He used 2 Templars to storm, so he has 2 less Templars to defend his army right there. So his army is also smaller, and he has less storms to engage in the army battle, so it makes it much easier for me.
So the Templar, the fact that he made a Templar drop meant it was time for you to attack, both because it's going to mean that you're not going to fall behind macro-wise, and because you know that he's going to have at least 2 less Templar than he should.
Exactly.
Alright.
And also at the point in time, even though my economy is reduced by his drop, our army sides will be neglected by that because we've already produced whatever we had at that moment in time. So, yeah, I basically just go off the fact that he has a few less Templar, and I felt that I started earlier for this engagement, and his economy wasn't as good. I knew he didn't have the free base. So I knew as I started adding more game weeks, even though I lost a lot of troops, I'll be able to just continually rally and out-macro him anyway.
Alright. It didn't look like there was a real turning point in the game. You just both chose your builds, and then you both built up a force, and then your force was a lot bigger than his. And
Yeah.
this is why you don't like the 12 necks? Because it's inherently...
Like I mentioned earlier, just in the lower level, it's harder to abuse it, because I guess they don't know as much, and like your micro will hit some sort of cap point when you get better, but when you're lower level, your micro is not strong. So I mean, it could depend on your game. Like one game you could have really good micro, another game you could have terrible micro. So if you have really bad micro, and someone does a 12 max like unchallenged, it's really hard to win. So that's the reasoning behind why I believe that they think it's so overpowered. But even I've used it a few times on Fish Ladder, and you get completely destroyed, especially if you get scouted first. Like it's like auto lose. So I don't really think the build is that strong.
Alright. So, as you load up the next replay versus our Zerg, how would you rate yourself? How do you think you personally played in that game on a scale from 1 to 10?
Well, I would say like it's 7 to 8, but the thing is, he played a lot worse than he could have. Because, I mean, like you mentioned, like not much happened. I did a drop that sort of delayed him, but he never really got an advantage. Only early game, he had about the same side. My type was a little bit better, but the fact that he cut his economy so early, really just gave me a huge advantage, and I didn't really need to harass after that. So I would give myself like a 7 or an 8, and he would get like a 5 or 6.
Come to think of it, you said that you did something really wrong in this game and we'll get around to it. But I didn't actually see what it was.
Yeah, no, basically I was mentioning that it was the fact that I saw his face, and instead of getting food range right away, I got my second gateway.
Ah, okay.
Because I was sort of blindly going by the fact that he did do 2-gate zealot builds a few times in our best of 11 or whatever it was. So I was just blindly going on something instead of what I actually scouted. But normally you should get the food range as fast as possible, because if you have food range early, it's much easier to micro for zealots. And you can gain stronger map control earlier.
Alright. Well,